right, sweet. So I'm gonna get this bin going for boxing up our Burundi that we just roasted. I have a Nicaragua, so I got another low temp roast. This one's gonna be Nicaragua. Now, like Nicaragua is gonna be a totally different type of batch than Burundi. So one, it's washed. Two, totally different bean size. Like the beans are like a completely different thing. And then it's washed. Process is totally different. And finally, the flavors are just like a completely different thing. So like the Nicaragua, I really want to like stretch this roast out. You're gonna see in my application of gas on this thing, I'm like, we're chilling on the gas. We are thinking about our mass. So I want to like develop harsh flavors out. I'm gonna keep developing the coffee while I'm roasting it to get harsh flavors out. I want to lengthen the roast, but that's how we're gonna do that. I also like don't want to hit when you hit coffee with a lot of heat. You are adding intensity to the cup. So if you're like, I'm roasting this batch, all I do is all I do is like roast with tons of open airflow, tons of flame, and high heat. Well, those are things that are going to create super intense flavors, which is amazing. Some coffees reward, like the expression of that coffee is like, holy crap, when you bring this stuff out really intense, which is like the Burundi, short roast, lots of flame, lots of air. Now these other coffees, it's like, dude, the flavors in this coffee are already really intense, but we need to, with our roasting method, we just gotta like mellow things out. We gotta like stretch out our roast, don't have so much airflow, don't have so much heat. So like on this one, for example, we're a minute in. It's after a minute. It looks like the environment is just turning around. Okay. Now, just think about it. The Burundi was turned around previous to a minute. This is turned around after a minute. The Burundi, I had 6 inches of flame. This Nicaragua, I served with 5 inches of flame. Now, with this Nicaragua, man, I'm pretty much immediately going to just go down. I'm just going to go down to, like, I think I'm going to go to 4 inches. And here's the deal. Again, talking about a skill set that we're learning as roasters, like the person behind the machine doing the work. How do you know I have a set of flavors that I'm drinking? I documented what I did. I drank the flavor. I drank it. And I'm going, man, these flavors, I want to change them. Where do I even start? Where do I start? And if you're doing the commodity mindset, if you're doing like consistency every time, I don't know how you learn the skills to be like, yeah, well, you know what we got to do? We got to stretch out the second phase. The whole thing, we got to use the least amount of heat as possible. And it's cool if we do a 12-minute roast. We got to just stretch it out, develop the flavors, get rid of some of that harsh acidity. Here's the thing. When coffees are really harsh, you just got to stretch them out. It's that simple. The longer the coffee is in the roaster, after the Maillard reaction has begun, Maillard reaction meaning like it's taken on color. Okay, so we're gonna look at these beans right here in the roaster. They you can see a little bit of changing. They're starting to whiten up a little bit. The green is like lightning, but like here's the thing. There's gonna be a point at which they take on their color. From that moment on, you are dealing with generations of compounds. Compounds that turn alive, join together, create new compounds. Join together, create new compounds, all right? So it begins once you start yellowing, once the Maillard reaction begins. Okay, so now a minute in, you have these sets of compounds. Fast forward to the next minute in, you have these sets of compounds. 5 minutes in, down the line, you have a different set of compounds. So if you're dealing with like, I keep roasting, and I begin yellowing at, let's say, 5 minutes. I got 3 minutes in that phase, 8 minutes. I do a minute on top, so I have 9 minutes in my roast, and everything is just it's too much. It's too intense, dude. You gotta get further down in the generations. The further down in the generations you go of these compounds, the less intense, the less harsh, the more developed the body of the bean. Like the cellular body of the bean becomes more developed the longer it's in the roaster, which is going to give body to the cup. It's going to give sweetness, and it's going to take the harsh notes out. So if you have coffees that are harsh, which are like, you can have like, harsh is like, so yeah, I mean like, you drink it and it's just this sharp edge on your tongue. You're like, wow. Now, it can be just like so displeasing, so strong. Some acidity is and some bitterness is like totally treasured, and we like want that. Like that is like what you're seeking after. And there's other ones like when things are metallic, or it's like vegetal, or like the other things that you're drinking. You're just like, dude, this is just too harsh. You have one solution, and that's like you got to get further down in the generation of these compounds to shed some of the harshness, to open things, to warm it up, and to get down. Now, the other thing that you can do is not apply so much heat. Like this bean that we have here, the Nicaragua. I'm coming up on 5.5 minutes. All right. Now this is a 15-pound batch I got in here. 530 into the roast, 278, 414 on the environment. So this is very much a chill batch. This is like, you can tell that we've got some change in color. I still wouldn't call this, I'm not in the second phase yet because there is still characteristics of green coffee in there. So I don't call it until we have left all the greenness behind, which is typically on my roasters are, about 300, around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're getting close to it. I bet you it's going to be a 6 minute, 30 seconds first phase. Lots going on, lots left in those beans right there. That's amazing. All right, so 6 minutes, 30 seconds, 300 right here, and 423 on the environment temp. That's low, man. 423 for a 15-pound batch is low. But what I'm going to just do is like crack open, now that we're into that second phase, just open up the airflow a little bit, get things pulling through more, allow heat to increase. I'm going to actually bring my flame down to 3.5 inches. So I went to 50% airflow from 40%, and I brought my flame down to 3.6 inches from 4 inches. So I've lowered the flame, opened the airflow. We're just going to let these babies cook. Let them cook. Let them do their thing. I'm opening this up. So I guess like what I want to get at is if you're paying attention to what your job is when you're roasting, and you're trying to make the best coffee that you can make, there's all sorts of variables, all sorts of little things that are always happening that you have to maneuver and figure out, even if it's just you have different batch sizes. Which that is, I think there's probably a lot of operations that essentially just, they would say the mass, the size that you put in the drum, we're going to do the same one every time. And I think that a lot of places with airflow, when I chat with people, people have no idea how airflow changes the cup. So they all just go, just set it, dude. Don't change it. Just like, so you're going mass, which varies the flavor considerably. We're just not changing. That's going to stay the same. Airflow, which does huge shit changes and differences. We're not changing that. The only thing we're going to do is adjust flame, which then inherently is adjusting time as well. All right, which is like yeah, I get why we're cutting those variables out, but then you don't know how to adjust. You don't know what those do. So if you want to use those, if you get in a spot where you're like, I need to make some adjustments here, and you're like, well, should I, can I solve the problem by opening my airflow? Like right now in this roast, I'm going to open the airflow just a little bit. All right, 9 minutes in, airflow. Why am I doing that? Why would I even think to do that? What is that going to change when I'm going to a 55% airflow at this point in the roast? Like, well, what point of the roast am I in? I am hitting the top of my environmental temperature. I don't want to go much higher than where I'm at. The beans are just before first crack. They're about to push out a bunch of energy. So what I'm trying to do by opening the airflow is I'm leveling out. I'm like taking the whole environment and I'm leveling it out. I'm going to bring my airflow open a little bit. I'm going to bring my flame down. And we're going to get this drum to be in what will feel like a very stable position before we hit first crack. All of those that whole calculation that I'm doing prior to hitting first crack is like not an option when you're trying to do the same copies over and over again. Like you don't even know why would I make that calculation. Like what are those actions changing? In this case, like with this coffee, what's the goal? The goal is to develop it, to give it time, keep things even and nice and melt. And when you do that, this thing is such a beautiful coffee. It's so amazing. But how different of a profile is that? Like completely different from what I was doing with that Burundi. It's you can't just have like one profile fits all for coffees. Like it doesn't work like that. 1045 in this roast. 377 Fahrenheit for the beans, 458 for the environment. First crack is totally underway. All right, 1045, 1145 into 12 and a half minutes. So we're just going to check these things out. Our environmental temp, I'm going to just bring my gas down a little bit because I'm doing just fine. Look at those beans, dude. Those are some happy beans. Really nice color, variation, great texture, nothing harsh, and they need to be developed more. I'm just like looking at them, and the thing is like you have when like engage with coffee like it's communicating to you. Pay attention to it, listen to it. It's talking to you, man. That stuff right there is saying something. What is it saying? Leave me in there. I'm not ready. All right, I can do that. But look at those colors. Just over the last like 5 degrees. It's really nice. We're coming up on 12 minutes. This is going to be perfect. They're saying, drop me at 396. Okay. Look at that, dude. Chocolate, cocoa, so nice. And now we're getting to the end. And I'm checking to be like, what is the quality of this? The smell. Is it harsh? Is it got like a super bitter edge to the smell of it? Is it nice? Is there tons of aroma coming off of it? Yeah, there's a lot of data you can get just from the smell. Look at that, dude. So 12:16. All right. So we're looking at that was a 12-minute 16-second roast, 397 temp drop. So we're looking at a minute and a half, a minute 45 for development. All right. So like not some that wasn't some 3 minute development. But look at the color. Look at how rich these things are looking. And that has to do with the batch being stretched out. All the components being brought together, like application of heat, our goals for our time, the way that we use how much beans were in there, so our mass, the way we use our airflow. And we got these, which are going to be very tasty, low temp Nicaraguan beans in Ortega community, dude. Damn. So that's it. All right. We got a couple more batches coming up. We'll do a high temp Nicaragua, so same bean, high temp, and then we're gonna do high temp Mexico, man. Classic, classic. All right.